Hello everyone, thank you for watching today. My name is Lori Hammer. I am a nutritional therapist and my passion is teaching everyone how to take back their brain. Today we're going to discuss the keto diet. What the heck is the keto craze? What is this keto diet that we're talking about? Well, keto's been around actually for a very long time. So historically people have eaten keto, even though they never called it keto, but our body would go through times of fat adaptation, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the keto diet is a high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate diet. This is different than a low carb diet because we are watching our protein count and we are increasing our fats. And there's a purpose for this, and we will talk about that. What does this do? It teaches our body to get into what is called ketosis. Big long word, ketosis. And that's when our body learns how to use fat for our primary fuel source. Because our body can either use sugar or it can use fat. So when we're doing the keto diet, we're training our body, just like an athlete trains, to switch from a sugar burner, which we do not want to be. We don't want to be a sugar burner, into a fat burning machine. That's when we're going to shred the pounds. That's when our brain is going to work. We're going to burn up excess fat around our organs and our glands that shouldn't be there and keeps us unhealthy. When we turn from a sugar burner into a fat burner. When this process happens in our body, we create something called ketones. Okay? The ketones are actually from the fat metabolism. We don't create ketones just because we eat fat. We create ketones in our body from our body learning how to be a fat burner and not a sugar burner. Does that make sense? And so why do we want ketones in our body? Well, our brain can either use glucose or fat for its fuel source, just like our body, but it prefers to use ketones. It prefers to have the ketones from the fat metabolism. Why? Because that keeps our brain sharp. Ketones in the brain reduce inflammation. They help to bust all the plaque that's in the brain. Our body just kind of eats that up. And then it just gives our memory and our thought processes a lot more clarity. We're all looking for more brain clarity. All right, so what about our body? Our body uses fat for energy when we stop being a sugar burner. Okay, do you have a fatty liver? Most people do. About 70% of the population, they don't know it, but they have a fatty liver. Because 70% of the population is overweight, 50% of the population is diabetic or pre-diabetic. We've got a lot of fat issues in our body. So if we train our body to not burn sugar and to burn fat instead, it's going to burn that excess fat off of our liver. And guess what happens then? Our liver actually works and you can detox. Your thyroid can get converted. Your adrenal glands work. Your food gets digested, and all the above. So our body loves to use fat for energy and it will burn off that excess, and we all have plenty to burn off. And guess what? When we use fat for energy, it's a clean energy source. Does that make sense? Because we want to have clean. When we burn sugar, it's like smoking in our house. If we had a fire going and we didn't have a chimney or a ventilation system, the whole house would get smoky. That's what being a sugar burner is like. But being a fat burner is like that natural gas on the stove. It's just this lovely blue light and it doesn't have any smoke to it. It's super clean. It doesn't affect our lungs, doesn't affect our vision, etc., etc. It's just good, clean energy. And that's what we want to get efficient at, is good, clean energy. And once we get there, then we can get into nutritional ketosis. That's when you are in ketosis and you're going to stay there for a little while. How do we know if we're in nutritional ketosis? We're going to get a cute little called Keto Mojo. I'm going to put the link down below, so make sure you click on that to get your Keto Mojo. But it's a ketone meter. You just prick your finger, checks your glucose, checks your ketones. Super easy, super quick. You can do that every morning or multiple times a day, depending on what you need. But to be in nutritional ketosis, your ketones need to be between 0.5 to 8, somewhere in there, okay? That would be a normal ketone reading for somebody in ketosis. How do we get there? We talked about higher fat, moderate carbs, or moderate protein, and decreasing our carb intake. We're going to slowly go from that 200 to 300 grams of carbs a day, which most Americans are consuming, and we're going to start cutting that back and cutting that back and cutting that back until we get to 50 grams of carbohydrates, net carbs, per day. And some of you may need to go lower than that, but you don't want to do that quickly. You want to take your time and do the slow carb reduction, okay? Because you don't want to feel bad. It's stressful to just all of a sudden cut out carbs on your body. So take it slow, but you're going to get to the point where you're going to do 50 grams net carb grams per day. And that's just taking the carbs minus the fiber in the food. So broccoli has 12 carbs, it has 5 grams of fiber, so that gives you 7 net grams of carb for a serving of broccoli. Okay, and there's plenty of apps out there that can help you to do that. Carb Manager is one of my favorites. But when we decrease our carb intake and we are getting into nutritional ketosis, what happens? This forces our cells to fat adapt. And then when they are fat adapted, what happens? Autophagy. Do you all remember playing Pac-Man? Have any of you ever played Pac-Man? I played Pac-Man when I was younger. I had Atari, and we had that Pac-Man. You had that little joystick, and it's just going all around the body. Well, think of that when you think of autophagy. It's just like Pac-Man going through your body, eating up all those little dots, eating up the ghosts, the stuff that aren't supposed to be there, right? Cleaning up the body. Remember, we're going to get that clean fuel source. Autophagy cleans up the body so that we start burning clean, we start running clean, and we have a clean body. But this happens cumulatively over time. But every time you stay in nutritional ketosis, you get your ketones in 0.5 to 8, you know that autophagy is going on in the body, that you are a Pac-Man machine going on in there. And that has to happen because if we stay the way we are and we don't force ourselves to adapt, we don't get rid of bad cells. So autophagy eats up the bad cells. And guess what? Bad cells don't adapt. So we want to get rid of them, get rid of them, get rid of them so that we can increase our stem cells, which are healthy cells, and they always adapt. Healthy cells adapt. So when your body's reproducing stem cells, which are like the baby cells, which produce bigger cells, so then we all have happy cells. That's what we want to happen. We want good cellular replication, good cell metabolism. That does not happen with the bad cells. We want to autophagize them. And why do we want all this to happen? For healing. We want our bodies to be healed. We were created to heal if given the right situations, and getting into ketosis is the right situation for your body. Check down below for more information. Contact me if you have questions.